3-3? Are we doing 1-1-1-1? 1-1-1? Okay. All right.
Hey, this is Tristan Van Beem with K2K Fox 51. Can I just have 1 second? I need to go try and see if I can get my OBS audio to start working. Just 1 second.
Tristan, I'll give you 2 or 3 seconds if you want.
Gotcha. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
So who else on for all the stations? We got Tristan on for Fox and K2K. Who else is on?
Ayana with CBS 19.
Oh yeah, hey Ayana.
Hey, how are you today?
Great. And who's on for KLTV? Who's over there? Hello, KLTV.
Sorry, I had to turn my mic on. This is Kylie Neal with East Texas Now.
Hi Kylie, you doing good?
I'm doing great. Good to see you. Thanks for having us here on here.
Yeah, I hope this works out good. If we need to do, I mean, I like this notion as Will was talking about it. I thought, you know what, this is a really good way to do it. We're normally in studio. We're actually in our office. We're kind of trying to do the studio setup our own self here so that we can hit all the local stations at once and give you guys what you need.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Tristan, let us know when you're back. How's the weather in East Texas today?
A little windy, but it's nice. It's not hot, not too cold. That's always nice.
All right. Sorry about that, sir. Just we got that under control now, though. So all good to go.
Good.
All right, guys. I'm going to hit record.
Recording in progress.
Okay, whenever y'all ready.
Okay, and then do I just go my 3 questions right off the bat?
Yes.
All right, sounds good. Okay, so Representative Moran, Trump said that the Biden administration gave the current administration the worst inflation in American history, and in 12 months he was able to drive inflation down to 1.7% in just the last 3 months of 2025. What is your reaction to that statement, and do you think we're seeing this kind of progress in Texas?
Yeah, there's no question that we inherited a horrible economy under the Biden administration. What you saw was record high inflation numbers for the entirety of that administration. That was driven by government spending over and over and over again and doubling down on that spending. But President Trump, when he came in, said, you know what, we're going to cut waste, fraud, and abuse. We're going to make some smart decisions. We're going to start getting regulation off the backs of businesses. We're going to reduce the tax burdens. Those kinds of things are driving down not only inflation, but also interest rates, which is helping to drive and spur economic growth throughout the United States. And I tell you what, one of the things I was very amazed with last night was the statistic that all of the last quarter's job growth was in the private sector. That's really remarkable, and you love to see that because we don't want to see government grow. I don't want to see government grow, but I want to see the private sector grow, and that's one of the hallmarks, I think, of this administration.
Okay. And then he also stated that last month he signed an executive order to stop corporations from buying family homes and kind of give that American dream back to the typical American. What impact do you think that this will have on the Texas housing market?
Well, this executive order is a recent executive order, and we need to see how this is going to play out. There's some debate about this. What I want to see in the real estate market is I want to see liquidity. I want to see movement in the market. I want to see us raise the amount of money that folks can have free of tax capital gains when they sell their house. Right now, it's at $250,000. So that if you make more than that, you're going to pay a higher rate of taxation. We actually want to increase that so that people are incentivized to buy bigger homes, to move on, to sell their homes, and that opens up more affordable homes in the market. There's a lot of other things that we can do statutorily to make sure that the housing market comes down in price. We started to do that this last year, and in the last couple of weeks, we passed a bill, even a couple of weeks ago, through Financial Services on the House floor. That was the 21st Century Housing Act. It's a really good bill that increases is the ability for us to circumvent all of these NEPA regulations and other regulatory burdens that are increasing the cost of housing. It also reduces the regulatory burden on the really small community banks. I met with some this morning, some community banks. Those are the ones that are making these loans for new homes. It's not the big banks, it's the small community banks, it's the regional banks. We need to get regulatory burdens off their backs so that that doesn't get passed on in cost to the consumer.
Alrighty, sir. And the third question, what stood out to you in Trump's State of the Union speech? Anything that you feel that Texans and East Texans should take away from this?
The number one thing I think that Texans and East Texans are going to feel in the next month, particularly, that was highlighted last night in the State of the Union address was the One Big Beautiful Bill. This is a remarkable piece of legislation that we worked closely with the White House on. As a member of the Ways and Means Committee, I was proud to be one of 26 Republicans that crafted a large portion of that bill that said we want to reduce the tax burden on East Texas. We want to reduce the tax burden on businesses and regulatory burdens on businesses. Why? Because we want to give more liberty back to our businesses, our families, our faith institutions. We want to incentivize people to live out the American dream. They can't do that when the government is making all the calls, and they can't do that when the government is so oppressive. And so it's the money belongs to the people. It's not government's money. It is the taxpayers' money, and we're returning more of it. So when they file their tax returns before April 15th, they're going to find out quickly that what we did last year has a real impact on their bottom dollar and in their family budget and in their back pockets.
Okay, thank you, Representative.
All right, Congressman Moran, I want to go a little bit back to the inflation and the president's remarks on that, how he said inflation is dropping and incomes are rising. Do you think East Texas families are actually feeling that relief at grocery stores, local shops, especially with all the tariffs?
Yeah, they are in some areas and some they're not. We've got more work to do, and I've been very vocal from the very beginning about tariffs. I believe tariffs are a tax. Taxes are ultimately paid by the consumer, and so I'm a free trade Reaganomics guy. I believe that we need to have fair trade, though, and there's a lot of countries around the world that have not been engaging in free trade with us. So I support President Trump's effort to renegotiate these deals, to use the short-term tariffs as leverage to do that, but we have to bring certainty to that market quickly so that businesses begin to relinquish their capital, so the prices come down further and across the board on a number of commodities. Because quite frankly, families know in East Texas, some things are looking really good these days. Gas prices are one of those, but there are other aspects that are not looking so good that we absolutely need to continue to work on and support that long-term economic growth by reducing regulation, reducing taxation, finishing these trade deals, bringing certainty to the market. That's what's going to do the rest of us a lot of good in the 2026 cycle.
Mm-hmm. And the president declared the border secure. Do you agree? And how does border policy impact communities here in East Texas?
Yeah, I certainly agree that the border is secure. When you look back over the last year, for a while, I was comparing month over month when I was giving interviews on this, and it was a 90% decrease and 95% decrease. But now what you're seeing is almost zero. In fact, zero is probably the right number over the last 9 months of illegal crossings. The president, by himself, using appropriate authority, said we're going to close the border. We're going to enforce our laws for national security purposes, for the sovereignty purposes of the nation. And that has a deep impact in East Texas. Even though we're not a border county and a border region, we feel it. You guys know we feel it through our law enforcement. As county judge in East Texas, before I came to Congress, we worked closely with our law enforcement to set up the Texas Anti-Gang Center in East Texas, which is a regional approach to making sure that we're interfacing with the federal government on anti-gang issues. That was a massive issue back then because we had open borders. Now we're seeing a much better scenario because President Trump frankly brought strength back to the Oval Office and is just enforcing the laws already on the books. Now, Congress should continue to do more. We need to pass what was then H.R. 2, the strongest border security bill in 2023 that we passed out of the House, and the Senate sat on. We need to pass that again, get that to the president's desk, so a future president cannot exercise bad discretion to reopen up the borders.
And the speech showed sharp partisan divides. How can you work across the aisle to deliver results for East Texans?
Yeah, actually, I think the speech itself was not partisan near to the point that it could have been. It was very patriotic and inspirational. If you watch that speech, it was a speech about new heights and new heroes in my mind. And President Trump highlighted heroes in America as recent as the gold medal team for the Olympic hockey team here recently, and then working backwards, you saw a National Guardsman that was shot in the head here in Washington D.C. that had survived, that was here standing with his mother after having recovered from that tragic incident. Then he talked about the brave chief warrant officer that flew our soldiers into Venezuela to extract the drug cartel head out there that was posing as a Venezuelan dictator, effectively though a drug cartel leader, and to bring him to justice to the American people, even though he had been shot, this chief warrant officer, a number of times in his legs, and the heroic nature of his activities. And then going back to a guy that served in World War II at the age of 17, that's now almost 100 years old, to say, look at the great heroes of America, and these are the people that we need to celebrate. Those were not partisan remarks, yet for most of those remarks, the Democrats remained seated, and that was shameful in my opinion. I thought that was a telling sign that Democrats in this day and age, unfortunately, are more about politics than policy. You're seeing that now with the appropriations and DHS funding. The Democrats know it needs to happen, yet they're sitting on it and making a lot of folks work from FEMA to TSA to DHS without getting paid, and we need to make sure that they are.
All right. Thank you so much, Congressman Moran.
Thank you.
KLTV7, are y'all there?
Yeah, we're still here, but we don't really have any further questions. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Oh, perfect. We don't have any further questions, honestly.
Oh, that's fantastic. Then I have no more answers. No, I'm kidding. Hey, thank you guys. I appreciate your time. So appreciate what you guys do for East Texas to keep them informed, to make sure that our folks are connected to what's going on in Washington, D.C. And wish you the very best this week, and we'll see you soon, okay?
Thank you.
Yep, take care.
Thank you guys.
And Congressman.